This is a Volkswagen Polo. Now today I'm going to take you over all the common problems, show you everything that tends to go wrong, and we're also going to take a test drive with the current owner and find out exactly what it's like to own one of these cars. Let's go. So engines, there was blooming loads of them, and to make matters a bit more complicated, at the facelift in 2014, they replaced some of them, but we'll come on to that. Now the first thing to mention is any of those petrol turbocharged TSI engines. Well, unfortunately, most of them tended to have timing chain problems. More specifically, it was the timing chain tensioner. So if you're buying one of these, try and make it after 2013 when Volkswagen switched from those troublesome chains over onto the belts. So engines then, what did we have? Well, we had the 1 litre official pizza delivery driver engine, if you like. It's what they all seem to use. They're all right, bit gutless when you get out of town onto motorways. The 1.2, now they seem to have quite a high ratio of the timing chain problems for whatever reason, so be careful if you're buying an earlier pre-2013 one of them. Now the 1.4, this is where it gets a little bit confusing, but we need to make sure it's very clear because there was 2 different variations of this engine. There was a 1.4 with just the turbo. That's actually quite a close relation to the engine that we've got in this post-facelift GT, but more on that later. The other 1.4 that we had, it was a twin-charged engine. So it had a turbo and it had a supercharger. Now, unfortunately, these were just horrible for reliability. If you want a laundry list of problems, I'll add it to the description below, but honestly, just avoid it. Don't go near those 1.4 twin-charged engines that are found in the pre-facelift GTI. So if it's a diesel you're looking for, specifically in a pre-facelift Polo, your choices are going to be the 1.2 or the 1.6. Now be aware, the 1.6s do tend to have more problems with the flywheels, so the 1.2 might well be the better bet. One other thing to bear in mind as well is that these engines likely aren't ULEZ compliant anymore, so if you're near a city, then it's probably not going to be a good fit. They both could have DPF and EGR problems as well, unless you are commonly going onto the motorway, getting up to motorway speeds and letting it do a full regeneration. So if we're talking post-facelift, some of those engines changed. So both the 1.2 and 1.6 diesels were replaced with a 1.4 diesel good engine, and also that god-awful 1.4 twin-charged engine was thankfully replaced with the 1.8 turbo in the post-facelift GTI. So regardless of what engine you're looking at, get a good look underneath the car and around the engine bay now, and also once you've been that test drive, because an unscrupulous seller might try and mop up some of the mess before you arrive. Now it's a Volkswagen standard, unfortunately, but be on the lookout for any thermostat housing leaks and also water pump leaks. So you're looking for coolant as well as oil. So next up, let's get on to talking about gearboxes, and believe me, there's a few monetary pitfalls here as well, unfortunately. If you buy well, it's not really an issue. Buy badly and yeah, you're going to suffer. But before we get to that, quick favour ask from you guys. If you're getting value from this video, please do hit the like button. And also, we create these videos for literally every type of car. So if you tend to buy second hand, it may well be a worthwhile subscribe as well. And if you do, turn on the bell. Okay, gearboxes. So are you ready for your gearbox advice? Here it is, buy a manual. The trustworthy manual tends to be the best option for reliability because unfortunately the DSG gearbox that they fitted in these Polos was the same as what we found in some of the Audi range and also the Seat range. It's the DQ200, infamous DSG gearbox. They tend to have loads of problems, and yes, the reliability has improved as the years have went on, but it's just still a fundamentally flawed system. Mechatronics units, clutch problems, clutch juddering. Again, I'll add some of the problems in the description below, but honestly, just avoid that gearbox if you don't want to have any problems. Now, if you bought a pre-facelift GTI, you could actually get the combination of that horrible twin-charged engine and that horrible DQ200 gearbox. You may as well just take your wallet and kick it across that field over there. So in a fairly untypical VW fashion, they tend to have the reverse camera mounted down here. Usually it's under the boot, but on these it's down here. Now the problem with that is they can sometimes actually fall into where they're fitted or just not work altogether. So check that that's working. And moving around here, another issue tends to be with the door locks. These can occasionally choose to just not unlock. and you need to have it replaced. Not a massive problem, but certainly something that you can bring up with the seller, save yourself a bit of money. So once you hop inside the Polo you're looking to buy, test the driver's side windows and also the mirror controls. There's an SC5 fuse that's really common for blowing, and it controls these. Again, it's not a massive deal, it is just a fuse, but it's not a nice thing to find once you've handed over the cash for the car. Something else to be aware of is a lot of owners have reported, tends to be an issue that will be repaired by now, but something worth checking, the windscreen wipers. Now what can happen there is they come on either automatically if it's got the equipment to do that, or manually and don't turn off again. Now usually this problem is traced back to the switch. Now that is a £250 part plus labour for fitting, so it is not cheap. So on that test drive, try out the wipers. Even if it's dry, just try washing the windscreen or something like that. What you're checking for is obviously they turn back off. That's what this problem's all about. Or if they don't turn on altogether, that savvy seller, or unscrupulous seller I should say, has maybe removed the fuse to stop you from spotting it.
See when it's frozen?
Yep.
And people keep trying them?
Yep.
Then before it obviously burns at the motor, it blows the fuse.
Ah, okay.
So it's really common on them.
Right.
You always get them coming in.
I'll just be like, here's a common problem. Gary, tell us all about it. So whilst we're on the note of little electrical gremlins, there's a couple more things to tell you about. One of them being the pump for the windscreen washers. Now this tends to be in colder climates where someone will try and activate it and it's frozen. It'll blow the fuse before it blows the pump, thankfully. Last few electrical gremlins before you hit the road, just like we're about to with the owner of this car. AC, make sure it's working, because it might just need a regas, or it could be the evaporator which is gone, in which case you're going to be spending a bit of money to put that right. And also, that's a minor thing, you probably check this on any car you're buying, but make sure your phone pair's okay. There's a few Bluetooth related problems on early models, and also speakers can go a bit crackly as well. Right, time to hit the road in this wee beauty. And this is the current owner of this car, Robin. Thank you very much for bringing the car up, Robin.
No worries.
So what's it been like to own? Have you enjoyed it, or?
I've really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more reliable than my last Polo.
So what did you have before? What year was that?
I had a Polo 9N, which was a 2006.
2006, so that was the older generation then?
Yeah.
So was it always going to be one of these that you wanted to replace that with?
Yeah, I really loved my Polo, the last one that I had. But again, it was just so unreliable, like so many problems with it. I had no choice but to sell it.
Right, fair enough.
I knew that I wanted another Polo. I initially wanted the GTI, but insurance said no. So
So was it going to be what year of GTI were you looking at? Was it older than 2014?
Yeah, older than 2014, yeah.
Dodged a bullet there, I think.
Yeah.
As we've found, there's a ton of problems with them.
No, definitely.
So you went for this. Have you had any problems with this then, or has it been alright?
The only problem that I've really had is the front lower arm rear bushes.
So that's common as well, isn't it? We're going to mention that actually. So the bushes in the front arms, was that an expensive job?
Quite, yeah. I got it done at a garage. If I had got someone else to do it, then it would have been a lot cheaper, but
right.
The labour cost for that was quite a lot. My mum actually paid for it to get done.
Fair enough.
And my shockies went at the exact same time, so the bill was around £500.
Oh, yikes.
Which was not great. My mum wasn't very happy.
And we can maybe help some people out with that then. So how did you determine that had went? Was it knocking?
Yeah, the knocking was...
Knocking at the front?
Yeah, it was horrendous.
Right, and is that something you reckon someone watching would be able to pick up on a test drive?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Right, so listen out for it knocking basically.
Yeah, and you can feel that in the pedal as well.
Feel it in the pedal?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Alright.
Pretty bad.
Was that you?
Drives nice, doesn't it? It does drive really nice.
It's a lot more comfortable now with the coilovers on it.
Yeah, so you've got some coilovers on it. Do you know what brand they are?
They are AP coilovers.
APs. And how has that changed it then? Was it softer than it is now?
It's
with the standard suspension on, or?
It's a harder ride, but it's still soft with the AP coilovers.
They feel great. Like
Yeah.
I'd expect AP coilovers on a car like this, as low as you've got them, it'd be quite crashy. But
Yeah.
this feels great.
It's quite comfortable.
So is this quite comparable to what it was like on stock suspension then? Just a little bit firmer?
It's a little bit firmer, but it's got a lot better handling.
Right. Okay.
I found that with the stock suspension, it didn't handle very well on the corners.
Right. Fair enough.
But now that the coilovers are on it, it handles a lot better.
Right.
Especially on like back roads.
Yep. Okay. And power-wise, how do you find it? Is it alright?
It's quite nippy, I feel.
Oh yeah, okay, right. It picks up good.
I mean, in comparison to my last car, it's definitely a lot quicker than the last Polo that I had. That was like 57 brake horsepower.
Yeah, so you jumped 100 brake here.
Yeah, yeah.
150 in these, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I guess with the turbo it's quite torquey as well, isn't it? So you don't really need to rev it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my last car never had a turbo, so to me this is quite quick, but
Yeah.
other people driving it, they're like, oh, this is slow.
I must say, it feels great. It feels really good.
Yeah.
So cost-wise then, you are, we don't need to disclose your age, but you're a younger driver. What's the insurance and stuff like?
Insurance is actually amazing.
Right,
in
okay.
this. I am about £700 a year,
Right,
which is really, really cheap, especially with the insurance prices going up.
yep.
I've no points.
You can do a whirly here.
The only thing that's a little bit more pricier is the finance. £250 a month.
So you pay $250 for the car?
£250 a month for the car.
Was it 11 you bought it for?
Yeah,
Right,
11.
okay.
Which is, I think it's still on the cheaper side.
It's great value.
Yeah, and especially when you're getting the add-ons with this car as well.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Blue Motion, and it's the sort of eco version of a GTI, but you kind of get like a GTI interior with it.
Yep, I get that. It's very Golf, isn't it? It's very
Yeah.
Mark 7 Golf in
Yeah.
here. It's just like
It's a lot smaller.
Shrunken,
inside.
yeah.
Yeah.
shrunken Golf, basically.
It's nice.
It's nice.
Have you done anything with exhaust?
It has a res delete on it.
Right.
Not as loud as I would like it to be, but it's got a wee bit of sound on
It
it.
certainly does, yeah. Sounds good. Is that stock intake as well?
Yeah.
Totally stock?
Picks up on it.
It's good, isn't it? That's 3 of us in here as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
know.
Put that rub in the back though.
Yeah. The tyres will be rubbing on
oh, is it rubbing the arches? Yeah, it's a bit low. You'll need to come back and give us a walk around once you're going stage 2.
Yeah.
So you'll need to come back and give us a proper introduction to the car, all your mods and stuff.
Yep, and
Now
I
this
have
is
new wheels on it as well.
new wheels. Yep,
I've loads done.
good
By
stuff.
the next time I see you.
There's a question about tax. Do you know what you pay tax?
Yes, it's £20 a year.
20 for the year.
Yeah. It's really, really good.
Yeah. So in terms of like if you were a younger driver, insurance wise, tax wise, you're on a bit of a budget, this is a really solid bet.
Yeah,
Oh,
100%.
and here's an interesting point. So if you were going to get the GTI, you're what, 180 brake or something?
Yeah.
You get? So you're what, 30 brake down in this? It's not an awful lot, but you're going stage 2 and they reckon that's going to give you what,
Just, yeah.
about 180?
Yeah, reaching about 180, yeah.
Right.
And it's a lot cheaper than the GTI as well.
Yeah, of course.
It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Less road tax and insurance is significantly cheaper.
Just a solid bet then.
Yeah.
It really is.
I checked the insurance for a GTI when I was sort of thinking about getting one, and it was like double the
Right.
insurance, and at the time I just could not afford it.
Right.
Because I
Okay.
had the flats on and everything, so
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'll go for the GT instead.
So how do we score the Polo on a reliability leaderboard then? Well, these are really quite reliable cars. Here's the little proviso on that though, so long as you avoid that twin charged engine and also that 7-speed DQ200 gearbox, which we know to be really troublesome. So long as you're avoiding them, we award the Polo a really rather respectable 8.5 out of 10 on a reliability leaderboard. Now thank you so much for watching. Please do hit that subscribe button and we'll see you next time.